Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to start doing a series of videos on my DAF 45 7.5 ton horse box. I've had this for between 5 and 6 years. It was just an ex-UPS lorry when I started building it. I've made it all myself. So I'm just going to start doing a series of videos on maintenance and a few other things that might help others out. When I first started doing this, I had no experience of lorries at all. I've done a bit of work on cars over the years, so it was new to me, and there was very little on YouTube that I found to help out with just sort of everyday basic maintenance for someone that owns their own horse box that doesn't want to spend a huge amount of budget. Anything big, I send it to a local mechanic that does it all for me, but the smaller stuff, servicing, etc., replacement parts, I do myself. So today, part one, I'm just going to do the engine bay, issues I've had, what I've had to replace. And I'm not going to show how to service it today because it's not due one for about 4 months, but I will do a video on servicing it at some point. As you can see, I've already got the cab tilted, but if you don't know, the cab tilt is on the passenger side, just behind the wheel. Putting the bar in there that's in the cab, pumping up and down. The bar at the back that's faced to the back, just lifts the cab, and to pull the cab back down, have the T-bar facing the front of the vehicle. So this lorry is fitted with the 3.9 Paccar engine, 4-cylinder. I'm just going to go over some of the bits I've replaced in the last 6 months from the most recent back, and any other issues I've found I'll try and highlight as well. So the most recent one was this pipe in here. I noticed it started to seep a bit of fluid around here on both the pipes. It hadn't got too serious, but I thought it was worth changing. And the old one, once I took it off, didn't realise actually how bad it was. It's actually got a couple of holes right down the bottom. Unfortunately, the only place I could find it to start with was DAF itself, which that was £65 from the local DAF dealer. However, if you do go on to, I think it's Priority Trucks in the UK, I've just found one for £30 for the same. Obviously not genuine, but probably just a good quality. Other issue was also water pipe. The problem I had was it started to leak right down in here, and you can see this clip here, it's starting to leak on this clip here, and this pipe just goes around to the main, I believe what they call the main pump. You can see where the new one bolts in. This is another second-hand part I had. It was actually broken on the plastic clip. This one I bought second-hand was actually too long in the end. So again, that was just another replacement part. I could only get it from DAF themselves. Again, that was about £60. It's quite expensive for that. And the bleeding was quite easy. Just filled up from the header tank. I didn't take any pipes off, and it just slowly bled itself. Just over 10 minutes of running, I didn't have to do any bleeding itself at all. So another issue I had in the last 12 months, I actually had the red cab light come on the dashboard that said stop. And it was showing as the cab tilt was insecure. I knew it wasn't because I can hear it click on the two locks here, and the other side are the same. So I actually sent it into my local mechanic because I'm not brilliant with electronics. Mechanical stuff I'm quite good with, but electrics is not my thing. And it was actually this switch down in here that was faulty. The cab was locked. He actually just bypassed it for now instead of replacing the whole unit, and that solved the issue. So something else to bear in mind if you do get that warning come up. MOT last year, come up with a loose step. When you stepped on it and moved about, and it was actually, you can see I've had to weld a plate in. This was starting to get all rotten in here, underside. Actually, this was the worst side. The other side's not quite as bad. I'll try and show you. So again, I've had to weld 2 patches in. That one wasn't getting loose, but I found out there were several holes in that side. So I'll, while we're on lockdown and there's no horse stuff going on, I thought I'd do a bit of maintenance to it. So I've actually cleaned off both undersides, like I said, welded plates both sides. So that's something just being bear in mind if your steps start to come a bit loose. It's probably the bolts under here. This one was totally snapped. That one was only hanging on by a thread due to the rust. So the fourth issue I've had in the last 5 years is this clip here that holds the sort of the air pipe onto the back of the turbo snapped. So I was getting a bit of a blow. A quick replacement that wasn't too expensive, and that solved that problem. And the final problem I've had is a common thing with the DAF lorries is the springs broke underneath. It just makes your gear stick really flop inside, and it can be an MOT failure. So I found these for about £15 a pair on eBay, I think it was, and that wasn't too difficult to change. 2 bolts, takes the clips out. It's quite fiddly, but it's quite easy. and replaced 2 springs, and that made a massive difference to the gear change inside. Like I said, you can identify if your gear stick's wobbling around all over the place. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do a full service now. I'll do a service video at some point. It's a couple of months till it's due a service, but I'll just show you the locations of the filters if you don't know them. So down in here, so this is on the driver's side. This is your oil filter down in here. It's quite easy to get to from underneath to undo it. On the other side, I'll move around the other side. So we're on the passenger side now. Fuel filter. The first fuel filter is a white filter down in there, as you can see. And the second filter is actually on the back of the fuel tank. So it's got 2 fuel filters on this. And the other filter down in here is the air condenser or air dry-in filter. I do change my filters every 12 months, oil and filters. I'm only doing about 2,000 miles a year with the horses for the competition, so I don't do a huge amount, but I still change it. Power steering is in here, and we can just check the power steering level with the dipstick. Main air filter is down in here. Because my lorry's got side skirts on it, it's really awkward to get to. I've actually got to take the whole air box off. Take the whole lot off. It's about a 2-hour job to take it off to get the air box out to replace the filter, but if you haven't got side skirts, it makes it a lot easier. It's only a 5-minute job.